We're down here in the weight room of the United States Coast Guard Academy. We're here with Coach Eric Degre. He's an assistant coach here. Coach, I think it makes sense to give a little bit of background on yourself, kind of where you started, where you're from, your coaching career, and so on, and how you actually ended up over here at Coast Guard right now. So,
Sure. Hey, thanks for having me, Ryan, and appreciate Firecracker wanting to interview me.
yeah,
Thanks so much.
no
So
problem.
I'm originally from Vermont. I graduated high school in Vermont. I played college baseball at Linden State College in northern Vermont. I got into teaching and coaching really young, right after I graduated from college, and I just loved to coach baseball. It's been a passion of mine for now 29 years. This is my 29th year going into it.
Okay.
I coached for 23 years at the high school level in Vermont. I was a firefighter back in Vermont as well, and a friend of mine convinced me that I should speak about baseball and firefighting, about how things
Okay.
come together and create team organizations and things that are bigger than just yourself. So I started to travel around the country to different college baseball programs, and I really enjoyed the college baseball atmosphere. I thought that was something that I would really love to do in my next career, per se.
Okay.
So I decided to retire from education. I ended up coaching in the NECBL, which is the New England Collegiate Baseball League, in Newport, Rhode Island, as well as Mystic, Connecticut. So then I was able to get a job at Johnson Wales University with Coach LaRose and Coach Cook. I was able to be there for a year, and then I ended up coming into Connecticut to do some other coaching, and Coach Grant reached out to me and asked me to come in for an interview, and I've been here for the last 4 years, and I appreciate the opportunity Coach Grant gave me.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. That's great to hear. It's really interesting, your story, because you obviously started in Vermont and you kind of went all over New England a little bit, and you ended up here at Coast Guard. I mean, that kind of alludes into it. My next question in general is, obviously coaching in baseball is a grind. Everyone who's involved in the game, they all understand that it's something that's every day. It doesn't stop, and it kind of consumes your life. So I always like to ask coaches in general, like, why do you coach? What's it for you in general? So
I'd say what keeps me in it is the rewarding feeling of helping young men become even better men. And using the game of baseball where there's a lot of failure, where one day things aren't going well, but we try to stay with the process, and then the next day it does come out well. The outcome is there, but we always just want to stick with that process.
Mm-hmm.
I think baseball can teach a lot of life lessons, and I've for my own life, have had great opportunities because of the game of baseball, whether it's meeting people or being able to travel. I think that it's very rewarding. And just being able to go to the ballpark and seeing guys smile and have a high five,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody making a great play, even during BP,
yeah.
it's something that's very rewarding for me.
Yeah, I've always thought about myself as like it's something that never gets old. There's always something new. You know, that's why I've always loved baseball personally. But yeah, that's a fantastic point as far as you're able to change people in general. So thank you for that. What sets the United States Coast Guard Academy baseball team apart from others in your conference and other schools in general that are in the area? We're actually obviously in Connecticut. There's a lot of schools in the area. So what sets Coast Guard apart?
Well, first of all, Ryan, we are 100% tuition free. We can't beat our scholarship. We are one of the top 3 STEM schools in the nation. STEM meaning science, technology, and math.
Mm-hmm.
We have great opportunities for our cadets to be able to travel around the country, to be at different ports, to be at different stations, to do different duties. They also have the opportunity to travel around the country and the world on the Eagle. The Bark Eagle is one of the oldest vessels that we have in the Coast Guard Academy. Mm-hmm. And then there's 100% guaranteed that you're actually going to have a job once you graduate from the United States Coast Guard Academy, because when you do, you're actually an officer in the Coast Guard. You'll then be stationed depending on where your billet night would be, and a billet night is when our seniors find out, well, they'll be stationed for the next 2 to 3 years. Whether it be on a cutter, it could be in Washington, D.C., it could be in Cape Cod, it could be in Alaska, it could be in Florida or Texas. But you actually have a job that's guaranteed for you. The opportunities are very endless for your careers.
Yeah.
You have so much potential to be able to do anything that you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, on that note, Ryan,
Mm-hmm.
about 80% or more of our cadets who graduate from the academy, once they go through their 5 years, actually re-sign up for another 5 years or up to 20 to 30 years.
Okay.
The other thing is player development. Coach Casey and our staff here really pride ourselves in baseball development,
Okay.
whether it's on the field, off the field, or in the weight room. You have that opportunity to come and play in a great conference, the NUMAC. The NUMAC has been very well represented in regionals, super regionals, as well as the College World Series. So you have the opportunity to play at a very high level in our conference.
Okay. That's fantastic. It's really interesting that you mentioned the job aspect of it, because I think a lot of times some people in the recruiting process kind of get caught up in the name of the school, and they don't really think about the fact that you need a degree and you need a valuable degree at the end of it. So if you come here, and if you're saying you're absolutely going to get a guaranteed job, it's very, very key, because a lot, like we said before, a lot of people forget about that aspect of it, and they just focus on the sports instead of getting that value of the degree. So that's awesome. Thanks a lot. So we're obviously here at United States Military Academy. There's a lot of exciting opportunities here. For you, what would you say is the most exciting opportunity at the school right now?
Well, last year our graduating class had 4 graduates go to flight school. Right now they're down in Florida with flight school, being able to try to become a pilot for the Coast Guard Academy. That's exciting to me, because there are times that we've gone down for our spring trip and we've had flyovers before a game, because we've had graduates who played baseball here who are now pilots in the Coast Guard, and they just want to give back. They get permission and they fly over. We just had a flyover this past weekend for alumni weekend for the football game, where they get permission to fly over. It's just out of respect. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of our guys get very excited to be able to have the opportunity to go to flight school and fly the United States Coast Guard.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's actually a really interesting opportunity. The next question I think I should ask you is, obviously we just talked about the school itself and what it has. So when you are recruiting, give us a few things that you as a coach want to see out of a player. And if you can, kind of get into a little bit of detail with it, so that way people can understand your expectations and be able to meet them in the recruiting process.
So Ryan, of course, we're looking for a certain skill set for different positions, whether pitching, catching, infielders, or outfielders. You know, a nice exit velocity, having a little bit more than a good arm slot for a pitcher. But other things that we look for is, does the player play the game right? Do they actually, hustle out a good 90 even though they popped up to the shortstop? Are they doing things correctly if they're backing up third base if you're playing left field? And a lot of times, of course, what we're doing is recruiting at certain areas where they're just playing games. Mm-hmm. And maybe they feel, it's not that important, but to us it is very important. Are they taking care of the small details?
Right.
Another thing for us that we look for is, are they there for themselves or are they there for their team? And a lot of times you can see that, because in the game of baseball, it's very individualistic. However, it's together as a team. So if this young man who's got my attention, if I'm watching him in the dugout when he's not at bat, is he rooting on his teammates? Is he giving them a high five? Is he having fun on the field? Because that really takes a lot of thought process for us to say, hey, can this guy come and be a powerful tool for us in the baseball field, but how does he do academically? Right. How is he going to do when he has to march with his platoon? There's just different things that we have to really look at. Mm-hmm. But I think the last thing, the most important thing for us, does he compete?
Okay.
Whether it's his third at-bat and he struck out for the first 2 at-bats, how is he going to handle that third at-bat? Okay. Those are the kind of things that we look for.
Okay. And that competition aspect obviously is extremely important in the recruiting process, because, and this, I'm just asking you to give your opinion on it. In the recruiting process, like the competition aspect of it, how often are you really able to see that in the recruiting process? And like, basically what I'm trying to get at is, when you go see a player play a game, that if he's 24/7 or not, right? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So if you go see play 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, pretty much right away that he's 24/7, always a player, and he's a teammate, all that kind of stuff, correct? Or
yeah, personally, I like to see how he fails.
Okay.
How does he respond to that failure? Because there's just too much failure in baseball, but there's always that next opportunity. Great. What are you going to do with that next pitch, that next at-bat?
Great. So off of that, pretty simple, like nice, short and sweet. In 1 to 3 words, can you describe what a Coast Guard player is to you in general? Or
the first word that comes to me is unselfish. They know that they're here for something bigger than themselves.
Okay.
And they take that down to the baseball field as well. When you have that team camaraderie, things come together pretty smoothly. Mm-hmm. You have guys that want to compete against each other. Yes, they also can be on a boat with one another and know that they have to trust each other. But on the baseball field, you are competing. Is it the same? Not really. Mm-hmm. But in the competition eyes, of course it is. You actually have to be able to give what you can and your best foot forward, even though maybe you just booted a ball.
Absolutely.
Or you had an opportunity to get a bunt down to move runners over, but you failed in that first attempt. You still have another opportunity. Mm-hmm. I think that unselfish is one of the best ways to be able to, what they actually call themselves are Coasties. So a United States Coast Guard Academy player is unselfish.
Okay.
I think another piece is going to be the competitor, to want to compete.
Yeah. So as we just mentioned before, it's obviously a very highly selective university. It's a military academy. How would a student athlete looking to come here compete both academically and athletically to become a part of the United States Coast Guard Academy baseball team?
Ryan, you're right. It is highly selective, especially academically, but our baseball program also plays at a very high level. So we are looking for young men who can do well in the classroom, very good at organizing their time, mm-hmm. and have a very high skill level on the baseball field. Mm-hmm. We want to be able to recruit young men who want to compete, but if they're looking for a great education, if they're looking to serve their country and play baseball for a great baseball program, the Coast Guard Academy could be for them.
So we actually had somebody comment on our post asking us a question. As always, you guys can always comment and ask your questions. We're going to answer them. So Emma Johnson commented, for Coast Guard, what is the first step in the recruiting process, obviously for you guys? And then if a student was trying to approach you, what's the best way?
That's a great question, Ryan. The best way for a possible recruit to get a hold of us is to go on our baseball website on the United States Coast Guard Academy athletic page. If you go on to the baseball website, you'll actually see recruit questionnaire, and that would be a great way to start the process for recruiting.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Coach.
You're welcome.
So, Coach, my second to last question. I noticed the saying up around the bear. You mind just talking a little bit about that?
Semper paratus. Mm-hmm. That is what the Coast Guard believes in. It means always ready. Always so ready. When they get a call, whether it would be for a rescue or if it is someone that, after a hurricane or there's a boat that is taking on water, they are always ready.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
So thanks a lot for everything, Coach. Finally, at the end of this, I think it makes sense to introduce us to Coast Guard Academy from more of like an academic side and the requirements to get in. So if you could shed a little light on that, we'd appreciate it.
Sure. So I'm still learning as well what the different types of things that you can do to get into the Coast Guard Academy. As I keep learning that we're a very strong engineering school, a very science and math-based school. We have more than just engineering. We also have cyber systems, we also have government, we also have management. But we are a big engineering school. So if you are a junior in high school looking at this right now, have you taken calculus yet? Have you taken pre-calculus? Are you in honors classes? Are you in AP classes? Because those are the types of things that can separate you from another person that may be a recruit. Of course, we also look at SAT and ACT scores. SAT scores being the math more important, as well as ACT. We do look at those in admissions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fantastic. Well, that's pretty much the end of the interview, Coach. First of all, I just want to say thank you from Firecracker. I want to thank you myself for taking the time out. And I want to thank the United States Coast Guard Academy for letting us come down, spend some time in the weight room, spend some time with Coach, and talk recruiting and get to know about the school and coach a lot more. So thanks a lot to Coast Guard Academy, and thanks a lot to the United States Coast Guard Academy baseball team as well. Thank you from Firecracker. Make sure you guys stay tuned for everything coming up. Have a great day.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.